Hey, good afternoon. Good afternoon. It's still morning. It's Ryan Perry with Simple Biz Support, and it is Wednesday, therefore it's Social Media Wednesday. As always, I have the beautiful and talented Sarah Giametti with ICT Marketing. Good morning, Sarah.
Good morning, Ryan. How are you?
I'm doing wonderful. I brought you back a little something something from the game the other week. So I
That's
seen it.
awesome. I love it.
I had a Dodger dog, but I had to eat it, but I brought one home for you.
I appreciate it. Yeah, they are definitely better than anything you get at AT&T Park.
Even better than the what are the fries? I can't think
The
of them.
garlic
The
fries?
garlic fries. Yes, those are pretty good.
Yeah, no, I'm talking the hot dog.
Oh, okay, just the hot dogs.
The hot dog, the Dodger dog is way better than the Giants hot dog.
Yes, yes, yes. Fair enough. Fair enough. This week we are talking about customer service and how it relates to social media. I actually have a very unique experience from my last trip. You have a unique experience from your recent move, and they actually have two different results, and I think they left two different tastes in our mouth. Before we go into those stories, though, let's talk a little bit about social media, customer service, and I'm thinking a lot of small business owners, I can see it on a national level, Coca-Cola, Pepsi, GM, Ford, very large brands using social media as a way to engage and interact and track customer service complaints, both, well, complaint is a negative, but also positive responses in responding to people and saying thank you. But let's talk about the smaller business owner who's maybe just regionally or within a city. How does one go about engaging customer service with their customers?
It's really simple. Their customer service on social media, your customers are already talking about you, one way or the other. Maybe positive, neutral, or negative. And so it's being aware of that and kind of trying to control it as much as you can. Part of that is, the places where people would look to find you, like your contact page or your FAQ page on your websites, putting links there saying reach out to us on social media if you've got a quick question. The caveat though is you need to be connected because people expect kind of an instant response on social media. Within 30 minutes to an hour, you need to respond with them. So if you're gonna take on this endeavor, you've got to make sure that somebody is able to respond to them. But putting links there for if someone's got a quick question or they have an observation or they have feedback, to have them put on social media so that not only can you respond to them, but your other customers will see it as well. And if they have that same question, it's answered for them in a really quick way. And so just because you're a small local or regional business doesn't mean you can't utilize it the same way that the bigger brands do.
Okay, so you're talking about going on to your contact page and actually adding a link to Twitter, Facebook that goes to your business page. Now, I could imagine a lot of business owners might be concerned about that and going, well, geez, you know what? I really don't want this information public. I would much rather they just send me an email. Why would I want to push them out to a public forum to make a complaint?
Because they're not necessarily making a complaint. And to be quite honest, if somebody has a complaint, they're going to post online about you. They're 10 times more likely to complain about you online than to give you praise. So since they're probably going to do it anyway, why not control it in a situation where if you push them to your Facebook page and they post on it, you're immediately notified. Whereas something like Yelp, you're not necessarily immediately notified. So if you can kind of control where they do it, you can kind of nip it in the bud. You can see that they complain and take steps to correct it, to make them happy, and then they become a happy customer again and praise you for taking care of their problem really fast.
Right, and I think from an end user point of view, that's really important. That a lot of times we complain only because we want to be heard, and so as a business owner, a lot of times we have fear that, oh, I don't want that negative review or I don't want any negativity out there. But realize that if you handle it correctly, you can actually spin it into a positive and take that person that just really wanted to be heard and acknowledged And I think what you're saying, Sarah, is that if you can control, if you know they're going to post anyhow, but if you can corral people to post on your page so that you have instant notification. Same thing with Twitter. We talked about the Twitter app's real easy. It'll pop up on your phone. Hey, somebody mentioned you in a post. Makes it real easy to respond. And think about the PR spin on this, that somebody's got a negative complaint, and as a business owner, you go and you engage with that person in a positive way, apologizing and saying, hey, I'm sorry you're upset. What can I do to fix it? Or, you know what, give me a call, or I'll call you, depending on the situation. But taking that immediate reaction, or taking that immediate action, other people are going to notice also, not just the individual person that had the problem, but other people on social media will see it too, won't they?
Yeah, absolutely. So especially on Twitter, everybody that follows you and everybody that follows the person that complained, they're all going to see the interaction. So that's why yes, you can definitely turn it into a positive for you, for your business, where you handle it appropriately, apologize for the mistake or a problem, whatever it is, and take actions to correct it. You make them happy, then they're going to turn around and praise you, and everybody's going to see that interaction. So it's a positive for you, because everybody knows we're all human. All the people that run the local businesses, we're all human. We know we make mistakes. Our employees make mistakes. It's how you respond to that is really what's going to set you apart. And people are going to see, like, okay, they made a mistake, but they totally fixed it, made her happy. All these other people that may not already be your customers are going to look favorably on you, and they may go as far as to research you a little bit further and become customers because of how you handled that, even though it all started from a complaint.
Right, and I think that's really important to note, that as a business owner, the reality is if you're in business long enough, you're going to piss somebody off. That's just, unfortunately, it's the nature of the beast, regardless of how well we take care of things. If you're in business long enough, you're going to piss somebody off, and it's going to go out there. And I don't think it's a bad thing necessarily from a social media point of view, and I'll use Yelp as an example on this one, and the fact that if typically it's a restaurant that I use Yelp for, and if I go on and I'm looking at a restaurant, I don't expect everything to be 5 stars. Everybody has different taste. People will arrive right when it's a rush. They're at the end of the line of a big rush, and those things happen, and maybe they had to wait longer. Those experiences, just a natural way of life. And so when I go to a Yelp review, if I see that they have multiple reviews and it's all fantastic and everything's lovely, and that's the life is full of rainbows and unicorns, I actually get a little nervous. I go, maybe how honest are these reviews versus an overall average of, say, between 3.5 to 4 stars. I can go, okay, is there a consistent message in there that people have the same complaint, or are they different complaints at different times? And if that's the case, then I go, all right, overall it's got very good reviews. The fact that they have a couple of minor complaints here and there, that's human. Not going to worry about it.
Yeah, absolutely. And also, the businesses are so worried about the really, really negative, kind of crazy ones. Here's a note to business owners. We're not dumb. We know that they're crazy too. And so exactly, if you're seeing this kind of an average 3 to 4 stars, but the overall is, someone like they didn't quite particularly like the food, or, one server was not great, but the rest of the staff was great. We're smart enough to figure that out. I had a client once where the lady, she clearly was on drugs when she wrote the review, and it was incredible what she wrote, and it was crazy. And all the rest of his reviews, for the most part, were good reviews. And he was so worried about it that, just don't worry about it. Just keep asking your customers if they liked your service. Review me on Yelp, bury that review. But people can tell the difference between a legitimate, like, I didn't really like this place, or the service was really bad and it wasn't well taken care of, versus the crazy person who will never be satisfied by anything. And so it's definitely, having that negative out there isn't terrible. It really is how you respond to it. If you respond to it negatively or not at all, then you're just going to hurt your image even more. But if you respond to it in a quick manner, in a really positive way, and take care of the person and solve the problem, especially at a restaurant, if they had really bad service or the food was not great, invite them back, give them a discount. have them come back into the restaurant and take care of them and have them give you another chance. That's often a great way to bring them back in and change their opinion of you. But because you're right, people just want to be heard when they're complaining. And so if you listen to them and interact with them and take care of it, they're going to be a lot happier, and then that you could turn them into someone who's becomes a rave reviewer of you online. And so they started with a complaint, and now they're telling everybody how awesome you are. And that's exactly what your goal is.
Right, and and the one thing I'm really surprised is as powerful as Yelp is, and I'm talking specifically the small business owners because I know a lot of them are not active on Twitter and Facebook, but Yelp is such a very powerful tool, especially if you're a service-related industry, obviously restaurants, but even if you get in the dentist, optometrist, anything where it's service-related, is take the time to claim your Yelp account and respond to both positive and negative reviews. It doesn't take a lot of time, you mentioned earlier that Yelp's not going to send you an email when there's a new review on your account, so you have to calendar it, once a month or once a quarter, and go in and check and see if there's any comments, depending on how often people leave comments. I think that's really important. We're running out of time, so I wanted to go into good cop, bad cop as far as social media goes. And we were talking before the broadcast started where I had an experience, flew down to San Diego, very first time that I ever used Avis as a rental car company, and flew in relatively late. By the time we hit the counter, it's midnight. You get on, and San Diego, when you get on, when you land, they don't have, the rental cars aren't right there, they're nearby, but they have to shuttle bus you. So you have to go out to the shuttle bus station, you got to wait for the Avis bus to show up, and we get in, and the guy goes, well, you preferred? And I'm like, nope, not preferred, I'm just a regular Joe with a rental car, or looking for a rental car, and he points to the back of the bus. So the front of the bus was reserved for preferred customers, and for us just holiday flyers, back to the bus. Didn't really leave a positive taste in my mouth initially from a just, first time experience with Avis. And then you get there, they drop you off, you go in, everybody's kind of grumpy at midnight, the staff wasn't really enthusiastic, wasn't really a positive experience, and once we actually get through the whole process, the guy gives me my check that has all the information, and that's it. There's no car keys, no nothing. And remember, this is the first time I've used Avis, so I'm like, well, what do I do? And he goes, oh, well, your car's out front. And I go, well, which car do I take? And the guy grabs the paperwork and he flips it open, and he looks on the receipt, and inside the receipt is a parking space number. On the outside of the book that he gave me is a parking receipt number slot, but he never filled it in. So he scribbles it down real quick and points me out. We go out the door, and we're in San Diego, relatively busy airport. There are a lot of cars, and I don't know which ones are being returned, which ones are being picked up. And I'm with my girlfriend, and we're both kind of looking around going, I don't know where the hell we're supposed to go because we were just told to go outside. And one of the guys that works there, obviously low level, he's returning a car. He's probably the guy that washes them. In broken English, asked me if I need directions. I go, yeah, I'm trying to figure out where the car is, and he actually showed us. He was the most polite, engaging person that they had there. So we go to the parking space, and the parking space is empty where our car's at. There's no rental car there. And I'm like, well, this is great. It's been a bad experience. It's midnight. I'm tired. And so I look inside because I noticed that when the guy looked for the parking spot, he looked inside on the ticket, and I thought, well, maybe there would be a description of the car, and fortunately there was a license plate number, and 2 slots down was our car. So when I got back, I left a nice little message on Twitter, and I actually hashtagged Avis so that they would see it. And this is, I think we're pushing 2 weeks now. Haven't heard from them. Don't expect it. So Avis, I don't plan on doing business with you, and you guys probably don't care because you've got plenty of other people out there, but just wanted to let you know. So on a lighter note, though, you actually had a very positive experience where you engaged in social media.
I did. When we moved to our new house, we were having Comcast installed, and it was initially a really awful experience of me sitting here twiddling my thumbs with no internet, no TV, no nothing. And so I couldn't work. I couldn't go anywhere because I'm waiting for their 4-hour window that turned into 16 hours over 2 days of incompetent people showing up, nobody showing up, appointments I was told were scheduled, not scheduled. And I finally got, that was Friday, Saturday, Sunday, they finally showed up to install my services. But at one point, I think it was Saturday night when they didn't show up again, and there was no record of the appointment I was supposed to have for Saturday morning, which I canceled a service project with my Rotary Club and some other family engagement. I didn't do any of that Saturday morning so Comcast could not show up. I posted on Twitter, and I had two Comcast employees respond to me, one really quickly, one a little bit delayed, and got a phone number for a specific person to handle everything for us. Got everything installed, but they not only responded really quickly. I mean, 'cause I was livid. I lost all of Friday because I couldn't go to the office to work. I lost, all of Saturday, and the service project happened to be one I really, really wanted to go to. We do a lot of service projects, and it was one that was really important to me that I couldn't go to because my husband was out of town. So it had to be me. And so I was livid, and I was not nice on Twitter. It's one of my few really not nice posts. But they responded really well, really took care of us, ended up, and the free stuff is a nice perk, but it was the being heard and compensating me at least somewhat for my time sitting around waiting because they screwed up so badly. And so that's where you can see the difference is I was livid, and within a few days I was happy with them, and because once their services are here, they're great. It's just sometimes getting them installed is not so awesome. So you can see the differences between your Avis experience and my Comcast experience. Both the whole thing was bad, but how they handled it and how their employees handled it made a world of difference. And that was just for them paying attention to their Twitter account and their mentions, because I definitely tagged them on my tweets. And so any business can do that and pay attention to it and create a culture of taking care of your customers through social media.
Right, and the reality is this conversation that we're having now about, oh, I had a bad experience that wasn't rectified, you had a positive experience that was rectified. You and I are not the only people that we've told the story to. You've told this story to many other people, I've told this story to many other people, so that all is part of that brand, what's the identity, that people start associating brands with, because if they start hearing the same negative story over and over and over again, then they're going to have a negative affinity towards that brand versus, well, here's a negative that turned into a positive. Oh, okay, this brand has a positive association now.
And in a world of when you've got competition, customer service could be the thing that defines you and makes you different from everyone else. You can choose between several car companies. Well, you're never going to choose Avis again because not only was their customer service poor, they didn't do anything to make you feel better after the fact, versus I have other options for internet and TV. They're not necessarily as fast as Comcast, but I do have other options, but I'm not going to switch because they had great customer service and took care of me. It took a little bit of time and aggravation, but they did take care of me and made me a satisfied customer. So that utilizing customer service to define you and differentiate you from your competition could be huge.
Right. So, all right. So, business owners, your action step this week, I think the first thing you can do is, if you haven't reviewed your Yelp account in some time, go onto your Yelp account, check it out. Are there reviews? If there are reviews on there, I don't care how old they are. They could be 5 years old. Go in there and leave a response and let those people know that you appreciate the fact that they left something positive, and let them know that if it's a negative, that you are there to fix it. Not make excuses, but fix it. And then the other thing that Sarah mentioned early on in this broadcast is make sure you have a link to your Twitter account, Facebook account. That way, on your website, that way you can draw people, push people into your website to leave responses so that you get notifications. With that, we're a little bit over time. I apologize. Sarah, as always, I appreciate your time, and I hope you have a great rest of the day.
Thank you, Ryan. I hope you do too.
All right, bye.
Bye.